happy new year from us, yeah, to you for 2025. It's off to a sort of bang average start with Hibs dropping points at St Johnstone, or picking up a point depending on which way you want to look at it. We will get stuck right into the conversation. Joe, I'm going to come to you first because you were first on by a ball here. You just beat Tracy to
Uh,
dial in. So, happy New Year to you first of all, Joe.
Happy New Year.
How was your New Year? Was it a good one?
Yeah, very quiet, really. We had the family up for 8 days over the Christmas period. They went away a couple of days before Hogmanay, so like, we're busy catching up, cleaning up the house, and so on and so forth. Haven't had the wee ones here, the
Very good.
grandchildren and the like.
And what did you make of the game today?
I didn't see it, unfortunately, and I only was following the commentary on the app, so I can't really comment other than I saw David Gray's interview after the game. And it sounded like, with a gap against 10 men, even though we're goal down at half time, we should have done it, but it just seems we couldn't cross the line at the end. So on to Sunday with a big game of Rangers.
You would have caught the game on. Well, I know you caught the game on Sunday before against
Yes, yes.
Kilmarnock because we had a pint after it.
Yes, that's
Um,
right.
what did you make of that performance?
Um, Humdrum. We worked and worked and worked to get a result, but it was humdrum, I would say. It wasn't inspiring or anything, but we were seeing out results, and that's the main thing. I mean, the last 8 games, 5 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss away to the champion Celtic. In anybody's form book, even though we only drew today, that's still pretty damn good.
Hmm. And some player movement already in January, Joe. A few players out. You've been surprised to see any
Yes,
of the names that have been moved
no,
on?
no, not at all. And I think you'll see some players going in January. I mean, I was surprised to see a couple of the players that came on in the second half. And my pal Dylan Levitt and Harry McCurdy was surprised because they've not played for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. But it just shows some of the players must be carrying injuries and us thinning the ground now with us throwing on those two players in particular who haven't played for weeks on end.
Yeah, I think if you look at the squad today, that was probably the main takeaway from it because you had
Mm,
Amos on the bench as well and
mhm,
Mariah
mhm.
Welsh, I think.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was that for almost a forgotten a bench full of forgotten players.
Mm, mm.
But they did come back into the game, after losing the goal just before half time. We managed to claw back. What do you think that says about the attitude of the team at the moment, Joe?
Oh, it's night and day. I mean, this team doesn't know when it's beaten. What a difference to 8 or 9 games ago. What a difference. So yes, it was disappointing only to get a draw against 10 men. But and from what I was listening to on the radio and stuff, the clips that I heard, there was a lot of near things in the second half, but we didn't quite get it over the line.
It's pretty much a fair summary. I think St Johnstone just packed their defence and sort
Mm-hmm.
of let us have the ball and try to
Were
break
you
them
at the game,
down.
Mike?
No, I couldn't make it today, so I watched on TV. I
Mm-hmm.
can't feel allowed to say that, but I did. That's exactly what I did. I watched it
Fire
on
stick or
TV.
something.
Aye,
Ah.
I did. There you go. It wasn't mine. I found it like a big boy done it and ran away. Yeah. Tracy, what did you make of it today?
Again, I had to work today, so it was just really listening. Obviously, I had the old firm game on as well. But yeah, just obviously got excited when I seen that they were down to 10 men. Um, but then obviously we conceded quite quickly after that. But it's the same old story. It can be harder to play against 10 men because, as you say, they put everybody
Mhm.
behind the ball. But it just goes to show, as it's already been said, that, the difference in the team before we would not have come back from that and the heads would have gone down and there would have been such a loss of confidence. But the fact that we are coming back after going a goal down, says a lot for the team, their character, and how they've really come together. I saw somebody comment saying, oh, this is a team that's had us at the bottom of the table. Well, yeah, but it's also the same team that's dragged us off the bottom of the table and are working really hard to get us back up the table. So,
Hmm.
sometimes it happens in football. you just go through these bad spells. They've got another new manager, new players, it's all these different things that they've got to work at and come together. And it's obviously now just taking shape. Yeah, it's not great that it was a draw, but we didn't lose the match either. And the same with Kilmarnock. We had to work really hard, but we kept a clean sheet and we won the game.
And it might prove to be a very important point. At the end of the day, it was a game we were losing up until quite late on. So
Yeah,
it's good to another goal for Dwight Gale. Tracy, it's not a
yeah,
bad
love
thing having
him.
that experience at the top end of the pitch. Eh?
Oh, completely. I mean, the goal against Hearts was just class. Obviously, great pass from Cadden, but yeah, he's just old school, proper striker, isn't he? He's always where he should be. Um, yeah, and I think it's good for the lads to have somebody like that in the team as well. That's up top, and they know they can rely on him when he's coming off the bench. Which I think we'll probably see more of, just because obviously, as he said, his body's kind of shot to pieces. But we're always going to need him
Mhm.
for moments like that, and to win us games. And he's certainly proven that he's been a great asset to the team.
And at the other end of the age scale, we had the news this week that Rudy Molotnikov got a new deal as well. What did you make of that?
Oh, I love Rudy. So chuffed for him. I think he really deserves it. He's really coming into his own. He's not afraid to take anyone on. Like, I loved him when we were down in Villa and he took on John McGinn. And I just think for a young lad to come on and have that, not have that fear and not look out of place as well. Yeah, no, I think he so deserves it. And it's good to see that there is that pathway still for the young lads coming through and that they're getting a chance in the first team.
I totally agree. Ian, I'll bring you in. You'll have been at the game today. Ian, as always, an away game stalwart. What did you make it all?
I've missed 3 games this season, and this was definitely the most disappointing game that I've been at. I think the only positive at all was Jason Holt being sent off. I don't actually hate anybody apart from in the world apart from Jason Holt and maybe Vladimir Putin, but I actually detest him. Horrible player. We really missed Joe Newell today and Ellie Yohan. We saw David Gray, unfortunately, making mistakes. Selection, we completely lacked any kind of creativity. Kwon should not be playing at all. He's not creative, and we obviously missed Joe Newell, but there was no leadership in the pitch either. I mean, Boyle as a captain, as I've said before, it didn't work. I mean, he's not providing any leadership on the pitch. I realise Joe's not the most demonstrative either, but by his example, I think he provides that leadership. And when Dylan Levitt came on, we had, for the first time in the game, we had short passes, we had variation, we had balls over the top, and we had more give and go than we'd had previously. So I think it was definitely a mistake by David to play. As soon as I saw Kwon on the selection, when we were sitting in the pub before the game, I thought, oh God, that's us fucked. And sure enough, we just looked terrible right from the start. We didn't create anything. It got worse and worse. Obviously there's a few chances. There was a few really good balls that people weren't on the end of. And it was unfortunate that Boyle's goal was ruled out, because that was a good example where Boyle did come out of the back post. And I think it was unfortunate that Dwight Gale touched it. It's a dreadful display, really, from beginning to end. Rocky's mistake was completely unnecessary. He pulled the guy. I think he pulled Paul on the 2016 bus. He must have been closer to me because he said that he pulled him down and pulled the guy down, and the ball was going long. It was going long. Mm-hmm. It was right over the top, so the danger had passed. So there was no need for it at all. So Rocky, big mistake there. I think our man of the match was actually Nectar Triantis, because he was probably the most creative thing we had. We obviously made a few mistakes, but just a classic example. I mean, there was certainly over 2,800 there. I got my ticket as usual quite early. The Hibs first. What normally happens at McDermott, you normally get the stand behind the goals, and then the overflow goes to the main stand. Whereas obviously what they've done this time, probably because when I bought my ticket we were crap. What happened was we were in the main stand, and behind the goals was all full as well. So a fantastic crowd, loads of families there. Like I saw a woman with like 3 bairns just on the run, and to watch that dribble, it was terrible. So really, the atmosphere was potentially fantastic, and we would have just increased the attendance at Easter Road massively for the rest of the season if we'd actually got our act together. So dreadful stuff. We were obviously unlucky to not put in some of the Stramashes that were in front of the goals, but just very disappointing. We should definitely have won the game, but our performance wasn't up to it at all.
On the penalty, and actually, I thought it was probably a penalty. If you were looking at it, I probably would have been claiming for it if it was us. We did have a very similar one like that against Dundee United that wasn't given, though. What do you think's behind the inconsistencies with referees with decisions like this at penalties?
Obviously, I hear the debate week on week, and it sounds like the direction that they're given for things like handballs. That seems to have been consistent now, but people being pulled when they're going away from the goals and not affecting the player, whatever it is. I think it's that. So I think that was the case with United. But I think today the guy was at the back post, I think, because I was obviously at the other end of the pitch. But I think there's been clear direction given. In some cases, it's obviously up to the interpretation. I didn't see Jason Holt's kick, so I didn't see that. But there was a couple of times where I thought that I didn't see Dwight Gale touching it. I just knew that Martin Boyle had not been offside when it was played, which is actually unusual for Martin. But it just such a downer after a long streak, and we really showed today why we've struggled. I'm really disappointed.
You don't take any positives in for the fact that we found a way to get back into the game and get back to 1-1.
No, that was embarrassing. It was dreadful. I mean, St Johnstone are shite. They're absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. They offered nothing. And had they not got the goal the way they did, they would never have scored. So, no, it's completely our fault. And it's completely David's fault. His selection, the tactics, the lack of creativity, the lack of change when it was obvious that the side-to-side wasn't working. We didn't get to the byline often enough, so too many crosses were going in. If you watch the game on highlight, I don't know, you're probably not on highlights, but if you watch the whole game, I have no idea how many crosses we tried to put in, but we're all crap. They weren't all crap, but I mean, there were so many crap crosses put in that showed a distinct lack of options. These are things called tactics. So give and go. Not necessarily spread the ball out wide and try and get to Martin Boyle to beat players he's not been able to beat for a couple of years now. He can't beat them for pace. So Martin's never been able to dribble past a player to beat a player 1-on-1, and yet he's trying to do it against a guy that was maybe, I don't know, 2/3 of his age or whatever. No, it's just a complete lack of creativity, complete lack of options. Selection was poor, and we brought on Ray Molotnikov far too late, to actually make an impact. And Harry, I thought Harry had actually scored when it was Dwight Gale's goal. I was so disappointed because I thought, Harry, this is going to be the match, just as we always do. This is going to be Harry's match. He's going to come good here. No, it was rubbish. And there was we're all flat on the bus going back, because we'd been so high. And it was such a fantastic support. And, Hibs have let us down. Hibs have let the support down.
Okay, John, I'll bring you in next. What did you make of it?
I think I was at a different game because I had the first half. What I would say about the team, I think we clearly had a plan against St Johnstone. Who were clogging up the middle of the pitch. So we were trying to play shapes, get the ball wide, particularly to Cadden in the first half. I can remember the ball going right across and not understanding why his brother didn't just crack it in. We managed to find a defender who was coming back from the other side of the post to knock it in. Boyle had a cracking chance in the first half where the balls come over for our left again. We had Campbell in at the byline who's tried to cross it in, beat the keeper, but the defenders cleared it off the line before somebody can knock it in. So I felt that we did have a plan, and there was more to our game, and we were getting more out of it than Ian. But again, it's all about opinions. I was behind the goals, and maybe that sort of changes what I was seeing. I thought that I mean, there's a few things. One, I think the combination of the last two games gives us an idea about where the squad is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do I think that we had enough control in the middle of the pitch today? No. And I agree with Ian. When Levitt came on, I felt it was better. One misplaced pass. I mean, there was a point where he tried to play the ball out to the left where it was intercepted by the St Johnstone player. That was the only ball that he didn't get right. Everything else went at Hibs player. Everything else was sort of dangerous, getting the ball moving quickly. So that was good. But we didn't have enough control there. I mean, until that point, and it was only there because we had the 10 men. Could we get down both sides? Yeah, we looked better with a beater. But again, we got to half time before bookings. I mean, Rocky,
Mm-hmm.
my worry with a penalty, I mean, I'm 110 yards away. I mean, and you can see Rocky's arms are up on the guy as he goes down, and you're thinking, you're already on a stupid booking for shouting at the referee when Holt got sent off. Please don't see another card. I mean, so I was quite happy that it was only a penalty, if I'm honest, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd gone in, we had two centre backs who were on bookends, and they simply had pace up top. I mean, it's the one thing that they were challenging us with. I don't know if it came across on the telly, but the balls were going down, and it was just sheer pace that they were running at people with. And we got better with that as the game went on. Second half, I can say less about because it's 100 yards away. As soon as there was the linesman put his flag up for the offside for the goal for Martin, and certainly it looked like he'd come in late, but yeah, we find out we've had the touch. Great to get the goal. I could see us moving it left and right. I could see the runs that were getting made by Gale because you're seeing the channels that he's running into, but there just wasn't anybody high enough up the pitch that was going to find them. And those who decided to just give by kicks away by shooting for outside the area and almost missing the stand, those were the frustrations where you could see people were just trying too hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for the wee slip balls, but no, 4 points in the last two games, not been as pretty as we would want. We've probably played better earlier in the season in some games, but you take the 4 points. The players have a plan. They're putting there's the attitude and application that's in there, and they got away with another one today.
But what about
I don't know
the
how that
players,
sounds.
the players that were missing, John? How much do we miss the likes of Yuan and Newell, O'Hora even at the back? Like that, we
Well,
think that's every area of the pitch, really, kind of the from
well,
defence to attack, but with different
today was an
changes.
ideal day for Kuharovic. When you're up against St Johnstone, you're looking to get balls into the box. You're looking to rumble up centre backs. You want Kuharovic or Bowie. I mean, in on them. So that's the way we're playing. A winger and a 10 up top. I think the deficiencies in the squad, as you say, we're sitting with Newell out in midfield. We don't have the option to bring on Yuan, and it's the changes you can make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that impacts as well. Brilliant to see Rudy coming on. I don't know why Mariah Welsh was only Welsh, but Rudy was Rudy Allen Molotnikov. I mean, in terms of stadium announcers and their little foibles. I mean, but it was brilliant to see him coming on. I presume it was only the few minutes at the end because he was on the bench because he's only been back training for a week. I mean, and it was just putting
Mm-hmm.
him in there as a more experienced head than what could have gone. But no, good to see him getting on. But yeah, likeness in the squad is certainly an issue. But again, it's players that we're missing. We could probably five of them would that we could name just now in terms of the two up top, midfield, and defence. They would go in, and you would be losing people off the bench.
Yeah, how much did the conditions play a part? It looked on, you'll have a better sense of it from being at the game, but certainly on TV, it looked like the pitch was in a right shite state.
St Johnstone's pitch was like St Johnstone's pitch always is. I mean, at this time of year, there's a bit more sand on it. Yeah, I took that picture the day just to sort of get our groundsman with his Hibees socks on, but it's a fairly bumpy pitch. That's why sort of other teams struggle when they go up there. It's not the bowling green that Easter Road is most of the time. But no, I don't think that really affected us. We could move the ball left and right. There was a couple of slips in the first half, but nothing that you would turn around and say was a great problem.
Mm-hmm.
The one comment I heard Gray say after the match was we didn't trouble the goalie enough. Yeah, probably right. As the highlights now just started on Sportscene.
Is it? There'll be about 2 minutes for a game. Leon, I'll bring you in. What do you want to say today, mate?
Not a lot, to be honest. I everything John said there, I agree with. It's absolutely spot on, his analysis there. I think we'll just leave it dead in their feet with the squad in general today. Big players, we've sort of relied on the results. Our results, our runny wins, relied on probably close to our strongest 11 in all the games. Um, Obviously, Rocky coming in to cover as well, but had a wee bit of revitalisation, obviously, apart from his mistakes that he pulls every other week. But apart from that, he's been pretty solid. But the starting 11, sorry, it's been pretty solid, pretty good, worked well together, and then we've missed a few big players dropping out. You'll even look at the bench today, we are so light. I mean, even McCurdy and Levitt and stuff like that, not against laddies and that, but they've not got a future with Hibs. They're not going to be here past the summer, I don't think. Amos as well, a guy that's essentially been on LinkedIn, punting his cell about all week, was on the. I mean, these are boys that we're relying on helping us pick up points. So I think a lot of that's going to be remembered when we look at the squad and even the day how we lined up.
Do you think there's a case to be made for today being the ideal game, if you like, if you're going to pick one with Rangers on the horizon, to maybe give Joe Newell and any players who are like 50-50 or borderline for the game, Ora is another one, let them miss this one so that they're good for Rangers? Or would you rather see us play our strongest team in the game we've got the bigger chance of getting the 3 points for?
Aye. What you said secondly there, I'd rather play my strongest team against St Johnstone and play the laddies against Rangers half the time, because I Ken Rangers are obviously their form's not been great, but then they've just pumped Celtic 3-0 the day, and it's always the same. So they'll come to us and we'll struggle against them. They've had the better of us for a long time. Even when they're going through bad spells, they seem to. I don't know if playing Hibs is a big game for them now in their mind, or their away end maybe gives them a good push, because every time they've came Easter Road recently, they've always looked miles ahead of where they've been in previous weeks as well. So when I was looking at the fixture list, that's the first thing I thought was, well, I'm bothered with the Rangers game. But winning against St Johnstone would have helped. Losing the day and losing against Rangers, and the fan base loses their mind again, I think. So picking up the draw the day sort of helped us a wee bit.
Mm-hmm.
If I'd won the day and lost against Rangers, it would have been a wee bit less worrying. But you can hear them starting to come out again. I can see them starting to come out again on social media, or the negative Nellies or whatever it was Steve Clark called folk. But the folk that just like to be convinced or tell you that they're right all the time. So that result of the day helped them a bit. But I think I take the point right away. Watching the game, and as soon as they scored that penalty, I was like, if I can get a point out of this, I'll be delighted, because I've seen that film too many times. Hibs going to places like that, losing a penalty, and then getting nothing at the game.
It was a really pivotal moment in the game, and it kind of sounds a stupid thing to say, or a dead obvious thing to say. We've just got the red card, which should swing it in our favour. We give away that penalty just before half time, so we give St Johnstone something to hang on to, because they weren't really interested in attacking in the second half at all. They just packed everybody in and around that 18-yard box and just let us have the ball. How big an impact was that penalty on the game, Leon?
Well, massive. I mean, I'd attained them not getting a place sent off and not having a penalty if you could offer me that, because we were the better team, 11v11. But then obviously they went into 10 men, got the penalty, and then that was it. You knew how the game was going to play out. And the way we had started the game, we're not taking. I always say no taking chances, right? Because you can't score every chance. And everybody talks about 18 shots. Well, so I had 18 shots and 5 on target today, right? And some a lot of folk talk about, if we had our shooting boots on, we'd have won the day. And I'm like, no team scores every chance. No team ever scores every chance on target. Right? You win. We've been scoring a couple of goals a game. So if we'd won the 2-1 the day, that'd been fine. We obviously become on at 1-0, we kept a clean sheet. Now, if they had scored, that game probably would have ended up 1-0 as well, because I felt the other week as well, we had the chance with Hoyle at the very start and we sort of missed up a goal and that. But I feel like we're struggling a wee bit again to score. Again, it's only been 2 games, but we obviously look at this on a game-to-game basis, and I think the last 2 games we've sort of looked a wee bit toothless in comparison. Because at the derby, I thought we absolutely could have scored 3 or 4, and I came sort of like what I'd say they would no scoring of a chance, but I think if we'd scored 3 or 4, folk they wouldn't have argued that we never deserved. So I think missing guys like Yuan and stuff, and not having Kucherevich and stuff like that available, okay, he's not be scoring goals, but like John said before, a day like today on a pitch like that, it does sort of help. And they are the type of team that you need somebody rustling them up a wee bit at the back. Because if they can have it all their own way at the back, they'll happily sit in and just take the pressure.
Spot on. Ian, you get your hand up, and then Colin, once we've heard from you, and I'll bring you in and we'll look at some of these talking points that have come in.
It's just the point you're making there. I hadn't actually thought about that. The idea that we wouldn't play maybe our strongest team because some of the players might be injured and be rested for a Rangers game. I certainly agree with B. We should have taken the points. We should have played our strongest team to win today. If that wasn't an option, I would always have done that. Let me just ask other John if he understands the substitution of Jordan Abita for, what does Jordan Abita bring that Jack Iredale isn't doing, and what did he bring today?
The simple idea is that you had both Iredale and Rocky sitting on yellow cards, so you had centre and left centre backs couldn't make a tackle. Okay. Ultimately, when you put Abita on, you've got a last man tackle there.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's as simple as that. It seemed really. And the thing is that I don't think Abita weakened us down that side. Iredale was doing fine. There was nothing wrong with what Iredale was doing, but there was no Rocky replacement. Therefore, it was Iredale, I think, that took the pill.
That makes sense, John, because I had thought somehow that they regarded Jordan Abita as being a better attacking option, but Jordan didn't really do what he normally does. He didn't get to the byline. Thanks.
I don't think we got weaker on the left, but you're right. I think they were still trying to push Nicky Cadden up that left side.
Yeah.
Colin, what did you make it today?
I think I'm in between John and Ian. I was disappointed, but then in the big picture, you think if you'd said before, 7 games ago, win 4, win 5, draw 1, lose 1, you'd probably say it's all right. It's just because it's St Johnstone, and as Ian says, they're shite, down to 10 men, but that's causing the disappointment, because you think we didn't often win 5 games in a row. So law averages would say, I think the last time we won 5 games in a row in the top league was something like 2010 or 2011. I read on HIBS.net during the week. It's like quite a long time ago. No, that's not to say we should have won 5 games in a row, but we don't, right? So I don't know. I was disappointed with that's my dog. That's not a beard growing at me. Sorry. I was disappointed with it. I didn't think we played well, but then it totally showed up your bench or your squad for how weak it is. As I can't remember who it was said. One of the guys that you've got. Well, it was Leon. You've got Kwon playing, right. We're not as good a team without Joe Newell. I said this the other day. That as much as Joe Newell gets hammered when we get beat by quite a lot of folk, it's noticeable when he does the play. And Kwon's just not as good as him. So I think I would say get Kwon back to Celtic, right? But he's having to play because there's nobody else. Despite us having about 15 central midfielders, obviously we've got already some are punting, they're selling LinkedIn and all that now as well. We've still not got anybody that we've basically got 2, because Chiantis probably was our best player of the day. Newell was an obvious miss. And other than that, I thought we were pretty poor. Like, and again, I get frustrated with Rocky. Like, as much as he does all this good stuff, and then everybody's give him another 3 years, you go, that's 2 weeks in a row he's booted one of his own goals, and he's gave a daft penalty away. He wasn't even looking at the ball. That's basically why he got it against him. He wasn't even looking at the ball. Defender was just like, the attacker was just like, I'll just wait and you run into me and I'll fall down, because you're not even looking at the ball. That's how he didn't know the ball was going long, I think Other John said. It's like he didn't know, because he wasn't looking. It's just fucking stupid mistakes he throws in.
Why do you think the players keep doing that? Kind of grabbing? Because It's happening loads.
And there's loads of penalties being given for it now as well. It's not even like you're saying you get away with it normally.
Still no getting them as well, and no getting them. But I didn't care if it's maybe because someone they're giving, they're like taking the chance, and they're like getting a bit tired or lazy with like the marking. They're like, actually, do you know what? I'm just going to take. He's had me for a split second. I'm going to grab him, and then it's just at the wrong split second, and a bit smarter, a bit quicker, going down and drawing the attention at the ref. You know what I mean? But it does my head in. I didn't care.
I think to answer Matthew's question earlier about it, I think the reason Dundee United in the Dundee United game we didn't get one like that is because the referee didn't give it on the pitch. And then what they say to the VR is, didn't he change the route? Didn't he change it unless it's fucking blatant? And they'll go, well, it's not really blatant. You know what I mean? It's only, and it's the way we've set that rule up, or that dynamic between the ref and the VAR. They're not allowed to. So then the referee gave that one today, so VAR would not overturn it. You know,
I didn't ken who Ryan Porteous played for. I completely forgot, and which is quite surprising since it was at the Hibs Watford game. But no, Watford. Who's he play for?
That's Watford. Yeah,
Watford.
Yeah, Watford. And I bumped into there was a Watford game on yesterday, and for some reason that I put on to that, and I forgot he played for them. But then I've actually completely forgotten his normal cheating that he did for penalties. Just pulled the guy down and pulled over. And he actually tried it in the Watford game. And I thought, there's Ryan Porteous. Yeah. So, I mean, I forgot that. I mean, because that's what he always did. You know, he always did that. Yeah.
I think Colin, the point you make about the referee not giving it and then VAR not going because it's not clear and obvious, that stands up. But until you look at the Dundee United penalty that they got, the referee never gave it. And VAR intervened. I just find the inconsistencies frustrating with it.
Well, you've seen that debate I was having with the boy on Twitter yesterday about the fucking second Kilmarnock yellow. Like the ex-referee, he was contradicting his own argument further in the season. It's just that they just make stuff up. It can't be consistent with referees because referees aren't even consistent with themselves. Is where I've landed. If they can't even make the same decision every time, then how are you going to be consistent over 10 refs? You just can't be. They just make it up as they go.
It's always opinion with them as well. It's never, they're no robots making like an actual start, like fact, and then instant being like he's got 100 guy, but by 98.2%, and the last one was 52. Look what I mean, though, it's a view, it's a visual view. They're looking at it with their eyes and being like, right, actually, I'm going to give that because that looks to me like that's a penalty. They could see the exact same in 2 days later and get the opposite way because at the time, just looking at it a wee bit differently, maybe a different angle. There was one the day I was watching, we had the Rangers Celtic game on at the same time, right? And one of the Celtic players, the midfielder, I can't remember his name, and took it down his chest in the box, and he had his back to the ref. The ref gave and all the Rangers players are shouting for a handball. This was obviously, he was in the Rangers box, so it wasn't like a penalty or that, it was just a free kick to Rangers, right? He got it, and I'm looking at it being like, how does he see it? He's not seen that. He can't see it. He physically can't see it, and the linesman was at their side. But he gave it because of the shouts. So I'm like, so that's wrong. He can't actually see that. And I get it. There's going to be mistakes in that, but then it really frustrates me, as you know, with VAR and that I'm like, they need to make it a bit more. I think VAR should maybe be in even more control of the games because it's like watching something for the stands. You've got a better visual, like watching it for the TV replays and that. You've got a better visual, and they're relying on the guy on the ground who's either a couple of years further away than the last time he made the same review or something. So they should be intervening more. And I ken that the fans would hate it, like you said as well. Like, there's the whole reason they did it is because they didn't want it to slow down the game too much. But they did. I looked at it thinking, well, could be given us a penalty or could not be given us a penalty, depending on how you view it. And it's the same with the Dundee United second one. It was like you could switch them about. You could offer the views, to 10 different folk. Every person would have a different opinion on it. So what's the rules?
I think we should get rid of VAR and instead of VAR have an Agnes. So Agnes on the 2016 bus, she always decides. She makes quick decisions. And she usually sticks by them even when she's wrong. Like she's sitting beside me, she's telling me that Corn played well, but he didn't. But Agnes should be the next generation of VAR, I think.
Fair play. John, you've sat patiently with your hand up there and you come back.
In terms of the VAR, just get the SFA to put the rules up on the website. I mean, give us access to the training materials for the referees and the interpretations of the laws of the game that they're applying in Scotland. They've never done that.
No, but John,
I mean,
they
the
then just
argument
say
that
it's an
Colin
opinion
was,
anyway.
well, I was
You
going to
can't.
say that. I mean, the fact that you can get to the stage where you had somebody on Twitter telling you, who's an ex-referee, that it wasn't even a foul.
Mm.
I mean, because it was players who had a legitimate right to compete for the ball.
Said they tried for the
I
ball.
mean,
That was
it
mental.
just shows you how ridiculous the whole situation is. So, no, I think in terms of the VAR stuff today, VAR did its job. Sent off a player for what was a fairly nasty tackle that the referee hadn't quite picked up, and yet it's clear and obvious. I don't expect him to get involved in re-refereeing that
By
penalty
the way,
because Rocky shouldn't be pulling him in.
see on that, right? The Rocky got booked for saying to the ref, "You got to have a look at that." That's basically what he done. He pointed at he was like, "You got to have a look at that." Booked him for dissent. Then can't remember who put the tackle on. Nicky Clark ran to the ref, was giving it the TV, check the telly, did they book him? Then he got booked later again as well when he should have been sent off.
Because of the captain rule, Colin.
Is that what it is?
Aye, that's why it's because they brought
So
it
the
in
captains
this year.
are allowed to shout at the ref.
Captain's allowed to do it, aye.
I thought nobody was allowed to shout at the ref.
Rocky called him a fucking arsehole as well.
Well, that's true.
A fucking arsehole. That's what, at least that I projected it anyway. That's what I think he said.
But see, in terms of Rocky had an absolutely perfect Rocky game today. I mean, most of the game in the centre, controlled, winning balls, passing it, moving it, occasionally bring the ball up the pitch. If we could get a meme of the tackle in the second half that almost put the boy into the second tier.
I thought he was getting that's why I think he was getting his second booking. I thought here comes the second booking, John. Given that was when he was running.
But it was absolutely clean. It was absolutely clean. Modern day standards. It was absolutely.
I mean, as he was running for it, I thought, he's got to get booked here.
Right. So, but within all of that, he's still got the meltdown that gives away the penalty. I mean, and I love him a bit. I think he's the times I've seen him come across one of the gentlest characters you'll come across off the pitch from what I can see. I care for everybody else. But if you've got, I mean, he gave away a goal just before half-time at Tynecastle. He's given away a goal just before half-time in Perth. I mean, if Ekpiteta was fit, he'd be on the bench.
John, you were talking about
I love him, but I'm not sure I see a progression in terms of how he's playing to take that switch off out of his game.
I agree.
But no,
John,
it's that idea where if you're marking your homework, he's done one thing wrong that cost us.
St Johnstone guys up front, John, and you've got to agree that Rocky matched them for the pace. You know, he's
absolutely.
Yeah, so you're right. He had a really good game. Now you can definitely coach. You can definitely coach what Rocky did wrong today. You can definitely coach it. So it's just focusing on the technique. You know, so you can definitely coach it. He can improve in that.
Can I ask John and Ian something? You were both at the game. Did Dylan Levitt do enough in the second half to play himself back into the team?
Yes, when John Yo's not available. Now, when Dylan Levitt, to play Dylan Levitt, you've really got to do what we saw, the crap that is the Celtic team destroy every good Hibs individual whenever they went to Celtic, because then they had to disappear into the Celtic team and they reverted to mediocrity. If you're going to play Dylan Levitt, you have to play with Dylan Levitt as your focus. You know, he is the guy who will spray the ball. When he was on with, when he was on with Nectar Triantis, they were really cooking because they were both playing well. And I think that's what led. So, I mean, I wouldn't play him instead of John Newell and Triantis, but I would definitely play him if John Newell's not available or Triantis isn't available.
What about Newell, Triantis, and Levitt? They're playing together, the three of them.
John?
What I was going to say is that the challenge for me, I love Levitt. I mean, and I think that he's a great baller. We're effectively only playing two midfielders. I mean, so the ball's coming out and we're playing Newell and Triantis in that position because we're playing Campbell so high. I mean, as part of a three up front, that it's different. If he's part of a three, Levitt, I mean, we go back to the sort of the Holy Trinity, sort of McGinn, McGeoch, and Allen, then he could play in that type of midfield, but that's not what we're playing at the moment. We're effectively playing three at the back, two midfielders, two wing backs, and one then two up top. And I think there's such a separation with Campbell being so high up the pitch that I wouldn't want to be relying on Levitt as one of the two, because I think there's going to be a bit more defending in there. Today he got the space because they had a midfielder off the pitch. I mean, we were playing against 10 men when Dillett Levitt, and he would have been perfect for the Kilmarnock game on Sunday. I mean, rather than sort of Quan being in there, if he'd been in there in terms of trying to get a bit of control of the ball, moving it about, that's what he was really good at. And we were effective at that today. Going forward, I think Levitt's problem is he doesn't fit into, I suspect, a physique profile. I mean, looking at Hibs, we have got bigger. I mean, I've never had a conversation with David Gray, but if you were to ask me intuitively, I think you like somebody who's above about 185 centimetres, 6'2". Levitt doesn't fit that, and you're then saying, right, okay, he can control the ball, but only in a 3, not a 2. And if Gray's playing a more advanced midfielder, it's not him. And even when Rudy's in there, Rudy's much more advanced and moving between the wing positions as well. I don't know if that makes sense. I know that's just observations in terms of looking for the outside.
The problem today was that because Quan did fuck all and didn't tackle anybody, what happened was Josh was something to cover for him quite a lot in terms of tackling back. So Quan is really good at getting quite close to a player and then following them back and then just doing nothing about it. And so as a result, we were really weakened. I think what then happened was when Dylan Levitt came on, I'm not sure, John, whether he just played deeper. I think he did. He was more sort of fetch and carrying. And I think that then changed the way we were playing in midfield.
Right, I'm going to grab a few comments off of YouTube. Actually, the first one's for Kieran, which is about Quan. So Quan was a man down today, not done anything for us in the last 3 months. You were obviously quite critical of Quan this evening. Is it just a case that we're seeing a player that's not match sharp? Like, is difficult coming in and out of a team? Would Quan benefit from having a run of games, do you think?
It's not that. He's not our player. He's not our player. So for us to take a loan player, they have to be better than the player we've got, right? So he's not our player. He's not better than anyone we've got who can play there. He's just not good enough. I'm not interested in his development. He can go back to where he came from, as Colin said.
Callum said uninspiring in general, but with a couple of good off-the-line shots, more Rocky mistakes, unnecessary yellow and bad penalty kick to give away, some bad long shots, a great travelling support. Tracy, you're a big fan of Rocky, and as John mentioned, he's a great guy to have around. Would you have these mistakes with Rocky that it seems to be like a bit unlucky that when he makes a mistake, they get punished. Some players get away with these things. They make a mistake and it never costs a goal. Rocky makes a mistake and it almost always results in a goal against us. What would you do with Rocky's contract's coming up to its end, Tracy? But I think we've got the option of another year on it. Would you be taking that year up?
Yeah, I would, just personally. I think he does more good than the mistakes probably show. I think he is a bit unlucky, but we've had the upturn since he's been in the team and not when we had Ekpiteta in the team. So I don't know if that tells you something or not. I don't know. Maybe it's just, obviously we haven't seen Marvin and the back three either, but obviously it kind of suits Rocky, and as I say, we've had that upturn since he's been there, so it can't be all bad. Obviously made the mistake at Tynecastle, and I thought, my God, he's going to be devastated, and I hope that they didn't hook him, and I was glad that they didn't, because then he went on and had like a great game again, and obviously then the support kind of turned it around from the Heart support singing about him, and I think we really got them through. He plays with his heart on his sleeve. He plays for the badge, and he knows what the club's about. I want someone there that's fighting for the badge and the shirt. and I think Rocky does give us that. Yeah, he's going to make a mistake, but everybody's got mistake in them. If you're a defender, you're a goalkeeper, they're the ones that are highlighted more because they're the ones that lead to you conceding. So, yeah, I would give him another year. I'd love Rocky to stay here. But that's just a personal opinion for me.
I think he makes too many mistakes that cost him, and I think you're right, he's unlucky. Whereas with Pochis, who probably made as many mistakes, but he got away with them a lot. Because I used to laugh in a group chat I'm in, unlucky Ryan, because that's what I used to hear, but it never used to cost goals. Whereas Rocky, every mistake he makes seems to be, well, that's not true because he made a mistake in the last minute of the derby and Shanklin didn't score as well. It's almost like, it just seems, it's far too frequent for me. Far too frequent for me. That's why I wouldn't extend them.
It's a really tricky one. Leo, where do you stand on it? Because what we are seeing for the Rocky is 99.9% of our game is, almost perfect. He's good at bringing the ball to the defence. He's good at making the tackles. He's a physical player. And then that 0.1% of the game, that one moment, we concede. What would you do? Would you sort of trust that would, that kind of continue? Like you're saying about you can't score every chance. There's going to be a point where you can't concede for every mistake. So is it worth sort of riding that out and giving him another year?
Oh, it's a conundrum, Mike. I think this is the problem. Like he's saying, is there is a lot of his mistakes are highlighted as well because his mistakes do turn it like he's had a lot of mistakes that turn into goals. Because I mean, even the one when they sort of half missed the header with Shanklin the last minute of the derby. And I felt like there was still a lot for Shanklin today, but it was just given right as a mistake for Rocky because he should have headed that ball. There's none again. Nobody was saying, "Oh well, this was in Shanklin was just about to kick off and score in every week." Sorry, and nobody was talking about how good forward play it was by him knocking Rocky off his balance and stuff like that. But I feel like it's quite. It's like it's a bit hyper than a way I mean. It's every time he like there's no denying it. It's if he's not put his hands on that guy today, it wasn't a penalty. So regardless if I think it was a penalty or it wasn't, he shouldn't have been stupid enough to do that. It was the same in the derby. Really unlucky in the derby. I mean, we can see it could happen to anybody, but it's happened to Rocky anyway. So this is the big issue. So no, it's really hard, John. I mean, I'd take him up on another year just as a squad player because I think he trumps some of the players that we do have that would be back up. So I think he's better than Hora, personally, right? So if it was I'm no worried. I hate slating Hibs players. I hate it. I really hate it, right? And I'm no way to do it. But even like Hora's he's not lived up to it, and I've thought he was going to give. But I'm not going to say he's not going to be good because he might come good. How many players have we seen have a sticky start here and come good?
100%.
So I think with Rocky, I think if you can get a player that's far better than him, then that's just the way football works and replace him. But for me, the way you should be looking at recruitment always is get a better start 11 every time, and then that'll naturally push players out anyway. So, but for me, I doubt he's a high paid player. So, I kind of did you know that, right? But I doubt he's at the higher end of the paid players. So, I'd probably give him another year.
Right. What are we just saying? Is it a 1 year option we've got, like? Or we got to give him a new contract?
No, I think we've got the option of an extra year on his deal. I'm sure I read that. I might be talking shite, Colin. Right? It wouldn't be the first time, to be fair, but I believe that's the case.
Right. I kind of feel with O'Hora as well. Obviously, they've just had a new baby, and I kind of feel his form's dipped slightly since the new baby's come along, which can happen to us all because it's like, oh my God, first time parents, you haven't got a clue what you're doing. You could read as many books as you want, but every child's different. You as much as their partners will always try and do things so that they don't have to get up in the middle of the night. They've moved away. They don't have family living here as well. So, and he will be conscious of his wife maybe feeling a little bit isolated as well. Depends how well she gets on with the other players' partners and that as well. So there's all those things to take into consideration. I do think he's maybe a little bit too nice on the park, whereas Rocky's got that little bit of a dig in him. as we know.
Nastiness. You need it.
Yeah.
There's
So
context.
yeah, he's maybe too nice.
There's always context, and in a horror. I was really excited. Not only excited, but I was happy with him, as I say. And looking at his previous, what he'd done in the previous clubs, he was captain in that. You're like, well, a lot of these obviously got pedigree and stuff, and I really do hope he comes good. I think he can. I think he will, because he has got all the attributes to be a good player. You can see it. He's a great passer of the ball as well, I'd hate to write anybody off, because I've seen it happen with so many players at this club that have been written off and then they came good. So I would never do it. But uh, but for me, I was like I was saying about Rocky. I was like, I'd give him another year, unless they've lined up another three centre halves that they're like, these guys are definitely going to this. They're going to be our three centre halves next year in the summer. That's going to be it. These guys are top notch, and then we've got Epiteta and O'Hora as the other two. Do you know what I mean? So that's the only reason I wouldn't do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Plus, Lucy would need therapy and counselling if Rocky leaves. So it'll cost me a fortune.
John, you got your hand up, and then after you, I'll bring you in. Ian, 'cause you got your hand up as well. When you go, John.
I think, the consistency across sort of three main podcasts at the moment is that anybody who's going out of contract we wouldn't keep. That will create a problem in and of itself in terms of culture in the background, consistency, continuity. Is Rocky good enough to play in our league? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would we want him to be better? Yes. Does he get Hibs? Absolutely yes. I mean, does he have the ability to sort of get the fans on board? Absolutely yes. I mean, the bits and pieces I've seen and heard of him. Is he somebody you want in your changing room? Is he going to have the back of the players that are in there? Yes. Is he going to project Hibs in the background? Yes. So those are the things that you might look at. I mean, and we don't necessarily see. I mean, I'm making judgments on a guy who's dragged somebody down for a penalty the day. I mean, and hopefully balanced it with the other stuff that he did that was really good. The argument for Rocky staying as opposed to a bit of Dylan Levitt. I mean, Jake Doyle-Hayes has moved on today. Good luck to him with what comes next. They just have to watch out for the manager at training. I mean, it's that sort of idea where they aren't necessarily the guys that kicked the ball at the park at Arbroath into the North Sea that the Hibs fans still remember. I mean, Rocky has got into the bricks a wee bit. So if you were to turn around and say, is there a wee heart bit which is, let's be a bit nostalgic, let's look at a player that, yeah, maybe isn't perfect, but actually gets what the club is, and you'd want around in terms of the transition that they're talking about for the summer. Yeah, Rocky could fit into that, but you want him to get better. I mean, if people have said we can coach stuff out of him. His pace today was brilliant. His tackling was good. Teammates are there round about for him.
Totally agree. Totally agree. If you think about it, it's Rocky's 98th minute goal against Aberdeen that started this run that we've been on recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's very talismanic to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Ian?
I have to agree. I agree with both Leah and John about Rocky, about keeping him on. I don't necessarily think that he's going to be first choice once Marvin comes back, but I'm very impressed with his improvement. As I said about being able to coach pulling the guy down out of him, equally you can coach what he did wrong against Hearts. It's obvious. It's obvious he was flat-footed. And you're never flat-footed when you're a defender, and it's just something you coach. And if you've got a specific coaching point, then you do that. The thing that concerns me is how, after we played very well against Aberdeen at Pittodrie, we didn't play well against Hearts, but we won. We didn't play well against Killie, and I don't know how we won. But and today we didn't play well, and we just scraped a draw. So my concern is that we've kind of been lucky the past few games in the way that we weren't in the previous season. So we have to improve against Rangers. At Ibrox, obviously, as I continue to say, we should have beaten Rangers because we can't miss a penalty against Rangers. And we should have scored at least 2 goals against Celtic. So I think we have to improve a lot to take on Rangers and give them a good game. So that's the thing that concerns me, is our form, because we didn't play well against Hearts and we won. We played less well against Killie, and today we were ordinary.
Tracy, your hand up there.
Yeah, just what Ian was saying, obviously since Aberdeen, but I've had quite a lot of games in between. So you've got that, you've got your recovery and then you've got a short time with training. If you've picked up any niggles, you're waiting maybe last minute to see if they're going to be able to train with you for how many ever days that you have as well. So there is that short window that you have just to kind of get everybody back together again. And then having to make changes due to injuries and things as well. It can have that upset, but the most thing is we've gone unbeaten as well, and I think that's really important, and I think that should hopefully help the lads going into the next game.
Is the consensus that we didn't play well against Hearts? I thought we had quite a good game in that. I enjoyed the performance for us. I mean, certainly first half I thought we looked a good team. But Ian, you're of the opinion we didn't play well. Leon, what about you? Where do you fall in it? Played well or didn't play well?
Oh, I enjoyed the game against Hearts. It was the most comfortable we've looked at Tynecastle for a long time. I think Montgomery game when we drew 1-1 was another one. And they got that dodgy penalty, it was the same. I thought we controlled the game. I agree about the Kilmarnock game, but I feel like that was more it was horses for courses. That was the way we needed to play to beat them because of the way they played. And we needed to get a McInnes team essentially, just to get the result. But we did I think them on a better day might have got a result against us. And it's a fair point to make. I mean, I think if you want to look at it, even for Kilmarnock St Johnstone, you could go, we're now it looks like we're on a bit of a wee slide form wise. But what Tracy was saying, I mean, you've got the niggles, you've got players that are obviously 100, but there's definitely players there that are fit, fully fit. Like even like Joe Neal and that as well. Like he came off in the derby and he was looking a bit. I'm sure it was the derby came off, wasn't it? And like games you're like, well, Yuan as well. Look at Yuan. We're missing Yuan as well for we're led to believe is obviously an injury as well. So I think it's got to get to that time of year, and this is what I said earlier on about the size of our squad is now. It is going to hurt us a wee bit because we're having all these games so close together that we're relying on players that we were not that we want to need to rely on, but players that have not been getting as many minutes.
I think Nicky Cadden and Martin Boyle give us good examples of players who have carried niggles or haven't really quite got over injuries. I mean, but now that they have got through them, I mean, Martin's got his wrist fixed with a bit of his hip or whatever it was that they did. I mean, he's had time in the background to get his fitness back up and is looking much sharper and much better. Unlucky with the offside goal today. Again, Nicky Cadden again has come in at the right time. It's that cause or coincidence. I mean, and those are players who had something that was just niggling underneath. So
yeah, I mean, I know all teams have kind of gone.
I think today was our 9th game since the Dundee game.
Yeah, and not all the teams are going through the same thing because we've all got games at the same point. But I think that's why there's been a lot of kind of different results. Look at Kilmarnock; they had a great win prior to playing us, so we were all like, "Oh God, Kilmarnock are going to come here and beat us," but we managed to not concede and beat them and get 3 points. So I think it's credit to Dave on how he's managed the whole thing because it's not been easy for him. The club have said that they're going to back him. They're quite clearly backing him, giving him that time, which is good. And he's having to manage a squad, that's in and out with injuries. There's players being told that they're not going to be there and then having to use them as bit parts in the squad. It's not easy, and to try and kind of manage all that, I think he's done absolutely brilliant.
Throw another stat in, we've conceded 3 goals in the last 4 games.
Well, but he's played and we're kind of away at Hearts, away at Aberdeen. You know what I mean? Like getting wins there, it's I'll say it's unheard of for us. You know what I mean?
Almost, yeah.
So we didn't travel to Aberdeen and Hearts in a close short space of time and come away with wins. So you've got to try and stay positive and outlook at it all because
absolutely,
we're sitting bottom of the league. And we were all saying we didn't care where the next win's coming from, and then I was saying that I made a joke the other day in one of the chats saying like I didn't care when the next defeat's coming, and I was joking, but it did feel like that. Even if
you nearly bloody jinxed us.
We never lost though. We never lost. So, I was like, I felt like the because we grounded that Kilmarnock game, that for me was the big one, because that had all the ingredients for it to work. We just beat Hearts, we had a sellout at Easter Road, and they're the two things that we never back up a Derby result. We never ever back up a Derby result. And how many times have we done that fiver game thing and no beat the team we played? So I mean, hats off to them, eh? But the big issue we've got is we're going to play Rangers next, who are going to be absolutely buoyant after the day's result. Hoping they'll put so much energy and they'll go for a few beers tonight after the day's result, and that maybe gives a wee chance. But if we lose to Rangers, it's not going to change my opinion of anything. And it's on to the next game, which I think is Motherwell at home, I think. Which is then that goes back to, let's get back on it and get 3 points.
Agreed. Right, we're out of time, so let's quickly look ahead to Sunday and get a wee. How's the game going to go, and what's the score prediction? Joe, I'll start with you. How's it going to go on Sunday, and what's the score going to be?
That depends. I mean, if Ellie and our captain come back, I think we could win. But we're so thin on the ground with players, as been mentioned by other members of this podcast, that a lot depends on whether we get these two key players back in the team. If they do come in, I think we could sneak a win. Otherwise, it's going to be a tight game, I think. We might lose 2-1.
Okay. Tracy, same two questions to you.
Yeah, I think obviously if we've got Joe and Ellie, we've got a fighting chance. As somebody said, Rangers away record hasn't been great so far this season. Obviously they've had the big win today with a few people missing, but they deserved that win today and played really well. But I think we play well against teams like Rangers and Celtic, because they do play that good football, and I think we're better with teams that like to play football. I kind of want to do the old Hibs 3 Rangers 2.
Well, just there, then you
Just
can
for
have
a
that.
laugh.
That's fine. Right, we'll take
I'll take that.
John?
I think that it becomes more of an away game for us. I think the expectation is all on Rangers on Sunday. There are so many points behind Celtic in the league. They're the ones that have to come out and hunt us. And thus, the formation that we've been playing recently probably helps. I mean, it'd be great to get Ellie back, because it'd be nice to have him and Boyle up top in terms of trying to get a bit of pace. But no, I'd take 5-5.
5-5. Take that as
I
well.
love that game.
As long as we score last. Okay, I would know what a 5-5 where they score last. That pissed me off.
And let's be honest about it, at 3-0, when we had the
Security.
corner coming in, you know what I mean? We all were dreaming at that point.
Exactly. Leon?
I fancy us for 2-1, to be honest. I know I'm not going to be devastated if we didn't win or we lose, but I do fancy us. I didn't see why we can't go and do it. I'd like a goal for. I'd like a debut goal for a new signing. That'd be great.
Aye, new goalkeeper on the score sheet first game.
Oh yeah, penalty.
Take it, Ian.
Great to see them humping Celtic today, because that's the only thing that Rangers care about is actually beating Celtic. So it was good to see that. And it also shows that Celtic can be beaten, which is great. I think Rangers were probably on the up just now. We'll be doing well to get a draw. So I'll go for 1-0.
Well, all right. Colin, I'll not ask you because we'll do our preview show tomorrow.
I'm out with the dog. I'm fucking signed up to this daft challenge at work. 31 minutes exercise a day, every day. I've got to fucking upset about all day, and I thought I'm going to have to take a dog out for half an hour, because otherwise I failed on day 2. So
can you just say you've done it and they'll do it?
I don't know. I'll be a bit.
Checking.
Well,
is he really out?
Personal pride.
Is he really out, or is he just saying it because he's live on the podcast?
I'll sound a wee bit out of breath. This will be evidence for it. Aye.
How do I turn the camera on? I can't turn the camera on. Aye.
Right. Well, good luck with your challenge, Colin. Keep the back and forth free for tomorrow for our preview show. We'll be back then.
Is that camera on? No?
Nah, it's not. No. It's not.
Oh, well.
It's saying at the bottom, like your location in the house. It's rare that information comes up on the screen, but there you go. It tells us that in the house. It says. Right.
What's a shunky?
What?
What's a shunky? He's in the shunky.
He's in the shunky. Aye. Right. Thanks very much for tuning in, folks. Thanks for coming on and talking to us about Hibs, everybody who joined in. And we